Summer marks that we're halfway through the year, and I thought it would be a good idea to do a roundup of my favorite synths of the year, both the synths that I've used the most, but also new synths that I have tested or reviewed here on the channel this year. And as always, I'd love to hear from you all, so drop a comment letting us know which synth has inspired you the most this year, which synth has been the most fun to use, and which synth have you used to make the most music. Let us know down in the comments. I have to start this video mentioning the Leviasynth. This is probably the most important synth release of the year, and let me explain why. Firstly, it's unique. It's not a traditional analog synth, it's not a traditional FM synth, but instead it blends the two worlds together into something very special, and the range of sounds it can produce is quite astounding. Secondly, it manages something which is rare. It's incredibly deep, but at the same time it offers a lot of hands-on control over its parameters. So while there's a lot of menu diving, it's way quicker than on most synthesizers because of its physical design. But it might not be for everyone. So if you don't know, I host a local synth meetup a couple times every year, and I brought it with me to one of the meetups, and there were quite a few people who started to look a little bit dizzy when I explained the Leviasynth's operators and algorithms that went through its deep menus. So I understand that it's not a synth for everyone, but I still think we can all enjoy the fact that it's out there, that they made this really cool, complex, but still intuitive device. So yeah, I really enjoy it. It's been a highlight for me this year. And you might not take me seriously for saying this, but actually the AstroLab 37 has been getting a lot of use here in my studio. And even though I was quite critical of it in my initial review, this was actually a quite difficult video to make. I must admit, I quite like it. So in short, having every sound I could ever wish for in like a small synthesizer, it just makes a lot of sense. And again, sometimes you just want to have a bit of fun and you want to jam and you don't want to worry about things being overly complicated. And those moments is where something like the AstroLab 37 shines. Simplicity, it's something we really need to talk about. The longer the spec sheet doesn't necessarily make the synth better. Sometimes it's just about having fun. And Minimal from Sonicware is one synth that is all about the fun factor. It has a solid drum machine portion, and it's also a 303, and it has basic, like very basic sampling capabilities. But what more do you actually need to make music? So if you're anything like me and you're exhausted by this state of the world, because yeah, and if you just want to have a bit of fun and escape the madness for an hour or two, I think like a small synth setup is definitely the way to go. I think this is like what the doctor has ordered, just simple, straightforward, fun, and I think it's important in these trying times to kind of get back to the roots of just jamming, enjoying yourself, and having a moment of reprieve. While it's not one specific new synth, but a place filled of synthesizers, we actually need to talk about Superbooth. I mean, what a highlight of the year for me so far. I get to meet all of you, viewers of the channel and fellow synth nerds, and it's the best thing ever. Are you happy, Mark?
Now I am. Cheers, everybody.
And I always get this question if it's weird that people come up to me and act as if they know me because they've seen me on YouTube. And my honest answer is no, I'm not bothered by it in the slightest, because in a way you actually do know me. I had one guy coming up to me explaining that he has been following the channel for 9 years. So I have been in his life for almost a decade. And that's something I could never have imagined when I started my channel back in 2015. So I just want to say a big thank you to everyone I met at Superbooth. I will be there next year. Hope you will be there too. Let's talk about a synth I'm looking forward to, and that is the Magella Compacts. It sounded lovely at Superbooth, and I really liked the design. So let me know if you want to see a review of it here on the channel, and I'll try to make that happen. I also want to say a few words about the Korg Phase8 because I feel like you can't really discuss 2026 and synths without mentioning it. And while I had fun exploring the Phase8, or the Space Kalimba as it's affectionately called, I'm not sure about it. On the one hand, I feel it's very interesting on a technical level. But I do understand why so many people were disappointed about it, and that people wanted it to just do more because it can't really do a wide range of sounds. And I think partly the Korg brand name is to blame here. Even if it's made by Korg Berlin, there's still the Korg name there, and how could Korg ever make something so niche and unique and still please people who have bought a Minilogue or Monologue, which are like totally different, more broad appeal synthesizers. And I think that if this product had been made by like a really small indie company, nobody would have really questioned it, and people's reception of it and reaction to it would have been very different. Another thing from Superbooth that kind of caught me off guard is the Dada Machine's TBD16, to be determined, which alludes to the fact that you can change the firmware. So while it was showcased as a groove box at Superbooth, it isn't just a groove box. So you will be able to change the firmware on it, and I'm not entirely sure which kinds of firmware there will be. I've heard rumors that you will be able to load up multiple DX7s on it, for example, and I think it's just such a clever way to have like a really nicely designed hardware and then have the community create different kinds of firmware for it that can expand beyond just being a groove box. And let me know if you want to see a review of the TBD16. Let's talk about the #1 comment that I've gotten this year, and that is, what is this big thing? Did the circuit enable to push, like have a baby or something? This is the Relic, and it's a massive sequencer and matrix mixer, which I personally use a lot. I really enjoy it. And the main device is a sequencer, and then you have a little breakout box for audio connections. And I'm very happy to see that this year they've continued to develop it, and there has been some great updates. And I really appreciate how open they have been to the feedback that I've sent them. And among other things, they have added a drum track mode, a melody and chord track mode, more MIDI effects, and step parameters like ratcheting. I think that basically my entire wish list from my initial review has been implemented into it, so I'm really happy for that. And the only thing I'm not a massive fan of is the matrix mixer aspect. I actually think that they should make a cheaper model of the Relic without the mixer, because there are many situations which I feel like I don't really need the audio mixing portion, the audio mixing side of things, and I think a lot of people might feel that way. I honestly can't talk about my favorites of the year without mentioning, again, the Sequential Fourm. To me, it's like the unofficial bigger brother of the Minilogue. While it won't dethrone the XD as my go-to suggestion for anyone looking for an accessible analog synthesizer, the Fourm is a close second. And it's actually my most used synth of the year. And it's simply because it's a straightforward, no-nonsense, good-sounding analog synth. course, a few drawbacks with it. For example, there's no onboard effects, it has a very basic mod matrix, and it has a low voice count. But I will say that the mini keys are actually some of the best that I've ever used, and it has polyphonic aftertouch, which makes the entire synth feel very expressive. I'm kind of curious how you feel about it. Let me know in the comments. So we are about 7 months into the year, and these were all my favorite synths, the new synths that I've reviewed or tried, and the synths that I've used the most this year. But I am curious to hear from you all. What has been your favorite synths of the year? And it doesn't have to be a new synthesizer. It's all about the gear that inspires us and keeps us making stuff and having fun, creating music and jamming and whatnot. So let us know down in the comments. And as always, hope you have a great day. Talk to you later.